John Tapscott.
And I'm Alex Tapscott.
And this is What's on Tap. Tap, there's a lot on.
Yes, there is a lot on. How about where is Tap? Where are you right now? This is a new background.
I'm in a little bit of a noisy place. I'm in Milano. I just gave a speech to a very large audience. Apparently the world is very interested in blockchain. I came from Copenhagen. In fact, for those of you watching this on the YouTube, I can flip something up here for you. Copenhagen, there were 3,300 people. A thing called the President's Summit. They were senior folks too. Although I have to tell you, there was no one in the room with a mask. Apparently, what's on tap in Copenhagen is not COVID, or at least they don't seem to think it is. But it was every seat in the whole thing was full. And oh, this is this morning. I gave the opening talk in Copenhagen. I gave the opening talk this morning. Another large crowd. It's called the World of Business Ideas. That's
wow,
today.
Look at that. Huge audience.
Yeah, well, actually, it was way bigger at this one.
Yeah.
And you know what they did? They brought out in the evening, boy, those Danes know how to party. They had a couple of rock bands, a new kind of groovy one. Then they had the AC/DC of Denmark called DAD, DAD. And oh God, I still have ear damage from that. But I had to actually leave, but that was like a serious party. What's on tap in Denmark also is they have this pastry. It's very tasty. It's called a Danish. Anyway,
I've heard of
speaking of dad jokes, that was pretty bad. Anyway, this is all about blockchain and crypto, and there ain't a dry eye in the house, or at least nobody's falling asleep. They're all taking notes and taking pictures of the screen. So I think we might be onto something here with this whole blockchain thing.
Yeah, I think so. I think you might be right about that. I think this is you've also been cooped up for a while, and I know that your natural element is out in the world, being on stage, talking to influential people, trying to get the message out. This is sort of like your eat, pray, love, freedom tour, and it's so appropriate that you're in Italy, but you're not under the Tuscan sun. You're in Milano in a convention center, which is sort of like your version of that. So actually, congratulations on being out in the world. I hope you're being safe and enjoying yourself.
I'm doing my best. I did an executive lunch today, and beside me was the CEO of Hertz Italy, and he learned that I was headed off to Lake Como for the weekend. And he said, well, you should go in style. Do you want me to get you a Lamborghini? I'll get you a Lamborghini SUV. So I'm getting hooked up, driving down the highway in my Lamborghini.
Well, those are kind of like Chevys in Italy, though. I mean, there are a dime a dozen like Lambos. Yeah. All right, enough of this. Enough of this. Okay, let's get down to it.
Moving along here.
Yeah.
What's going on? Well, I know with you just finished a book. Or is that a secret?
Well, it's not really a secret. It's true that we're putting out a new book called DeFi Revolution, focused on how digital assets, new business models are transforming the financial industry. And I've written, a major part of that book focused on a number of different areas, a couple components. One is on a new digital asset taxonomy that we've updated. In fact, I'm going to do my own screen share here. Apologies for everybody.
Well, while you're doing that, taxonomy.
Who's listening in.
Most people want to have a nap when you say that, but I get all excited when I hear about taxonomy, because this is the only way we can understand things, is to have clear language and categories. So
yeah, absolutely. So I'll read them out for people who are just listening in. I think it's important for everyone to kind of understand that, the thousands of new digital assets that are being created, or crypto assets, are not necessarily currencies. In fact, most of them are not designed to be currencies in the traditional sense. Bitcoin, of course, is designed to be a currency in the sense that it's supposed to be a store of value, a medium of exchange, a unit of account. And we know that it actually starts to function like a currency. Like today, it's November 10th. The inflation numbers just came out, and they were hotter than expected. And currency-like assets such as gold and Bitcoin have moved up. Bitcoin more than gold, which I think is indicative of where investor flows are going. But that's just Bitcoin. The other 8 kinds of crypto assets are totally different. And just to go through them briefly, they are number one, cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin. Number two, protocol tokens, the platform tokens of projects like Ethereum that help to power DeFi and other blockchain applications. Governance tokens, which are the tokens of the applications themselves. The holders have governance rights over how that project uses its resources. Number four, non-fungible tokens or NFTs, used today mostly for crypto collectibles, art, and other cultural assets, but I think will be foundational to digital identity in the metaverse. Number five, exchange tokens. These are the native tokens of crypto asset exchanges like Binance and FTX. Number six, securities tokens, tokens that represent shares in companies, bonds, and other financial assets. Number seven, stablecoins, crypto assets tied to some sort of stable value, either US dollar or some other fiat currency. Two kinds of those. One, centralized stablecoins backed by money held in reserves. And number two, decentralized stablecoins backed by crypto assets held in smart contracts. Number eight, natural asset tokens. These are tokens that represent claim on some sort of real world assets such as carbon, gold, oil, and so forth. And number nine, central bank digital currencies. I think that one's kind of self-explanatory. So this has been updated, by the way. The first version of this crypto asset taxonomy appeared in the second edition of Blockchain Revolution. It was 7 assets at the time. We've added a couple. We've adjusted the names of a couple to more accurately reflect what they do. For example, governance tokens, I think we probably had that listed as utility tokens. NFTs was called crypto collectibles before NFTs became, de rigueur in how we talk about this stuff. So anyway, this is the new crypto asset taxonomy, and it turns out that these assets are kind of transforming every single part of the financial industry, cultural industries, payments industries, and even governments themselves. So it's a big, big topic, and it's one that we dig into at length in the new book.
So there'll be lots more in this. I'll make one editorial comment. This is very satisfying to me for a number of ways, but one is like in taxonomies in nature, you try and have mutually exclusive categories. And these are not exactly that, but they're pretty darn close. And for sure, any token, you can say, well, that's primarily that one.
Yeah.
It might do that, but it's primarily that one. And the second thing is you want in a taxonomy, you want it to be comprehensive. And I think that this is. I think that you've nailed it. So I can't wait for the book to come out. It's called The Digital Asset Revolution.
Or DeFi Revolution. I actually don't think we have a title for it yet.
Okay.
We got it.
Would anyone like to vote?
Yes.
Which would you rather buy? The Digital Asset Revolution or the DeFi Revolution?
Which would you rather buy in massive volume?
Christmas is coming soon.
No, but it's very exciting. And, we've got, it's not just me who's contributing to this report. We've got some other really great contributors. Anthony Williams, for example, who's been an outstanding, longstanding contributor, co-author of Wikinomics with you. Andrew Young, who's a crypto asset entrepreneur, launched $1 billion protocol. He's talking about prediction markets, which is a very important area in the new decentralized financial space. So some really great contributors. I think the lion's share is sort of coming from me, but we've got lots of help from some very excellent people as well. So it's very exciting.
Now, I know one of the things that you worked on in the book, and I'll get you started on this, is this notion of the Web3. And I think there's a lot of confusion about this. So let's bring instant clarity to it, or at least try. So I'll start with the first two because I've been around for those. The Web 1 was a platform for the presentation of content. You put up a website. Web 2, actually popularized by Tim O'Reilly, was not just a presentation for content, it was a read-write web. It was a computational platform where people could build collaborative platforms, and they could also, using something like Shopify, build an e-commerce site where it was a two-way thing. And then Tim Berners-Lee was originally coined the term the Web 3.0, and that was a decade ago or more, and he called it the semantic web. And Tim's a super smart guy, and it's a little hard to fathom exactly what he meant here, but it had to do with natural language and interacting with the web in a natural way. Since then, we've had the rise of blockchain. And Alex, you and I, our taxonomy was the first era of the internet, an internet of information, which can contain all of that. And then there's a second era, an internet of value, or anything of value. Any asset, you just described 9 categories, could be managed, stored, transacted in a secure and private way, peer to peer, using blockchain to establish trust. So, but now you have Polkadot, Web3, not Web 3.0, just Web3 without spaces. What's that got to do with Tim's Web 3.0, and what, just bring some clarity on this Web3 thing, would you?
Yeah, well, that's if you associate Web3 with Polkadot's Web3, then that's a big coup for Polkadot.
Yeah.
Be associated with the future of the world. They've branded their sort of their software development entity, the Web3 Foundation, which is great and everything. But Web3 is not just Polkadot. In fact, Polkadot is sort of a small player in the whole thing. Yeah. So you described sort of the two different versions of the web. There was the read web and then the read write web, sort of the social web, which was dominated by collaborative platforms, social media, Wikipedia, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, etc. But in the second era of the internet, Web 2, those large platforms captured all the value, even though it was the users that created that value to begin with. Web3 posits that we can move beyond that kind of a system where large platform company like technology companies and platforms control the value that's created. And that's through crypto networks and through the idea of digital asset ownership. So basically, the idea is because of crypto economics, individuals can be early contributors to a platform, but also be early owners of a platform. And so having a strong financial incentive to remain engaged in a community means that community can scale a lot faster. In the Web 2 model, you would launch a business, and then you'd have to raise a ton of money from venture capital and out-advertise or outspend your competitors in order to reach scale. And then once you achieved a network effect, then it was very difficult for anyone else to compete with you. And that's why, even though the internet created a lot of value, there are sort of natural monopolies in these different categories, right? Different categories like social media and search and so forth. With Web3, there's a powerful economic incentive to be early in a network because you can actually own a piece of it. And the reason that you can own a piece of it is because of blockchain, right? The idea that we can create scarcity in digital goods, that we can hold them in a wallet, and that we can take them with us around the web. That's not something that was possible in the Web 2 framework. In the Web 2 framework, digital goods like in-game assets or other valuable things like your identity didn't actually belong to you. You may have paid for them with your money or time or input, but they were owned by these platforms. Chris Dixon at Andreessen Horowitz says, it's sort of like every time you interact with a platform, you have to rent your own identity, which is problematic for a number of reasons. Among them, that as a renter, of course, your rents can go up and that you can be evicted anytime. So these are things that Web3 tries to solve for. So it's still very early stage, but we're starting to see really interesting examples of this. One is in the area of sovereign identity. So people are buying NFTs as profile pictures, provably scarce, avatars for their digital selves that they are using as part of their Web3 persona. I think that's really interesting. You're seeing the rise of video games on the blockchain where you can actually earn an interest in the game environment. You can become a stakeholder and also make money from playing the game. That's very different from traditional Web 2 models like Epic Games, Fortnite, where all of the assets and all the IP is owned and controlled by the centralized company. You're seeing examples where social media entrepreneurs are starting to put money to work to build decentralized social networks. So Alexis Ohanian, who is the founder of Reddit, just announced a $100 million fund to build social media projects on the Solana blockchain, which is one of the top 5 blockchains and one of the world's fastest growing. So all of these things are happening right now. And this is, I think, something that, is early, but I think the outline of what this Web3 thing could look like are starting to come into focus, basically. And another thing is that a lot of Web2 engineers and other top talent are basically like exiting Google and Facebook and these other companies. Probably overstated in the Web3 community how many, but there's obviously a lot of people who see this as an opportunity, basically another kick at the can to try and rewrite the internet in a way that's more participatory, more fair, and where people get to own part of the thing that they create. So one of the interesting sort of shorthands that I've heard is that you have the read internet, then there's the read write internet, that's Web 2, and now we're in the read write earn internet, where you can earn a piece of the thing that you're participating in, where in the past you couldn't, right? And so I think that's an interesting way of thinking about it.
Yeah, maybe read, write, own, where
Yeah.
you own assets, including your own identity, and not just
Yeah.
make money off them, but use them to plan your life, give them to science, or do all kinds of other stuff. Very, very cool.
Yeah, I like that. Read, write, own. Yeah, earn is sort of a part of own, right? Like you can earn something and then you own it. But there's other ways you can own things. You don't have to go out and earn them. I don't have to go earn my identity. I should own it from the outset, right? That's very good.
Of the read, write, own web was developed spontaneously in an episode of What's on Tap, developed by Don and Alex Tapscott. Anyway.
Sounds like a good title for this podcast episode. What's on Tap, the read, write, own episode.
Yep, that's what we'll brand it, the read, write, own episode. I said to these folks this morning in Italy, I started out by saying, this is 1995, and I'm going to tell you about something called the internet. And at the end of my talk, I'm going to hope that you're wondering, what do I do about this? Because it's going to be a very big deal. Anyway.
Love it.
You got anything else? I got some announcements here.
No, go for it.
Okay. So the third annual Enterprise Blockchain Awards will stream live on Tuesday, November 16th at 7 p.m. Eastern. I know that you've been in a hologram studio, Alex, doing some work for that.
I certainly have been I was wearing a tuxedo, so doing my best, James Bond impression. But we also have Angie Lau, who's co-hosting it. Angie is the founder of Forecast News, and formerly was Bloomberg Asia's news editor and anchor. So she's kind of a great person to host a major show like this. She brings a lot of heft and gravitas and experience. So it's going to be an amazing production, that's for sure. And I know that we've got some really good candidates as well in the mix. So you definitely want to tune in for that.
So stay tuned, November 16th, 7 p.m. Eastern. And I believe you guys are all being beamed into a metaverse as a hologram. So we'll see how that shapes up. On November 10th, Alex and I spoke at the Bitcoin and Beyond Virtual Summit. Isn't that today? Where Alex shared his views on the new token taxonomy with the world.
That's right. That's today and tomorrow, I believe it's happening.
Oh, okay. Right. I am. Okay. I'm just trying to catch up with the future. I'm going back to the future.
Go back to the future.
Platform revolution. Blockchain technology is the operating system of the digital age. That's now available on Amazon. Platform Revolution came out as the #1 management book on Amazon.com. And the idea there is that blockchain has now achieved officially platform status. That book explains what it is, and also the idea of trivergence of AI, blockchain, and the Internet of Things coming together. With terrible timing, I also released another book last week. It was actually published through Trent University. It's called Big Ideas. Chancellor Don Tapscott speaks to a new generation, and that's available on Amazon.com. So if you're under, say, I don't know, 35, that's a pretty good book. It's all of my pontifications to students and young people over a 6-year period, and the university brought it together as a book. And for members of the BRI, our second big report on NFTs, non-fungible tokens, part 2, an enterprise view of programmable digital assets. So the concept of crypto collectibles, I guess, was first developed in blockchain revolution. Then about 3 years ago, we did a big report on NFTs, and now this is the next generation. You got to be a member of the BRI to get that one. If you're not, you can wait a year and you'll get it then. If you'd like to join the BRI, come see us at blockchainresearchinstitute.org. Bring your company and your CTO and a significant budget, but you're getting at tens of millions of dollars worth of value. I guess that's it. So long from Milano.
Arrivederci.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Prega. I think I'm
All
gonna
right.
go have some nice super Tuscan wine and a big bowl of pasta or something. Anyway, so
All
long,
right.
everybody.
See ya.
Sure.